Phyllis Ellis. I am the president. I am the president of the Brockton area branch NAACP. Welcome to our meet and greet. I'm glad you guys could make it. Nice turnout. The first 45 minutes was devoted to the meet and greet, so you can go around, talk to visitors or whoever might want to come up to you and ask you a question. This session here is for the candidates to come in and talk for 3 minutes. You will be timed 3 minutes. I'm going by categories. The first up is school committee. Anthony is here. I'm looking for Tony Rodriguez. Is there anyone else who didn't sign in that's here for the school committee? I do not want to miss anyone. Is Cynthia Mendez here? Someone said they saw Cynthia. Is she here? They're still in there? Where's my stage manager? You didn't make your announcement? Okay. Well, we're going to start because we are on a tight schedule here because we have so many candidates. I'm going to bring up Karima Lewis, who's going to introduce the candidates for school committee. Karima.
Good afternoon. We have Anthony Donegan running for the school committee in Ward 2.
Can you hear me? Oh, it's working. I don't know that I even need this thing, but I'd like to say hello to everyone. Again, my name is Anthony Donegan. I am running for school committee here in Ward 2. I say here because I remember in my old days as a Ward 3 school committee person, I spent a lot of time in this room. This is where the school committee meets typically. I wanted to say thank you so very much to the NAACP for putting this forum on. And I wish I was a little shorter, but I'll make do. Oh, okay. That's all right. These are just the bane of my existence, but okay, this isn't too bad. All right. Again, I am now a Ward 2 resident. I live over on Ellis Street. I used to live in Ward 3. I'm a lifelong Brocktonian. As I implied earlier, I served once on the school committee when I was in Ward 3, so I do have some experience in this job. I lived here all my life, raised my family here. I went to the Brockton schools. My sons went to the Brockton schools. I just graduated my youngest just a few weeks ago. He's off to UMass Amherst. My other son, Seamus, is here. And my mom was a teacher in the Brockton schools. And I have a great passion for the city and also a great passion for education and the schools. I love the Brockton schools. And I want to be your school committee person. To give you a little background or a little information about what I'd like to do on the school committee, I have a couple of priorities. The first, and probably the most immediate, as you may know for years now, the state funding for the schools in Brockton has been dwindling. And we've fought and fought and fought. Our legislative delegation has fought to restore some of that funding, and they have been lucky on a few occasions, but we've had to lay off a lot of teachers. Classroom sizes are exceedingly high in Brockton High School now and all over the district. So we need, Chapter 70 is the Massachusetts general law that deals with the funding of cities and towns schools. So that's one of my big priorities, is to push for that. And my other priority is to, and this is something that I'm hearing quite a lot, is better communication between our families and our schools, both the administrators and the teachers. I think that there has to be more of a focus on diversity. I think that there are some efforts being made in the Brockton schools right now to have a more diverse faculty and administration, and I'm going to push to ensure that that continues. The other thing I think we need is more of a focus on bilingual communication with our non-native English-speaking parents in the schools, and that's another thing that I'll fight for. So I see that my time is about up. I didn't think I'd even make 3 minutes, but here I am. Thank you all very much, and I hope to see you out on the trail.
Thank you, candidate Donegan. We'll now hear from Tony Rodriguez, who's running for the school committee in Ward 4.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, NAACP, for hosting this event. Tony Rodriguez, give you a little background on myself. Long life resident of Brockton. Went to the public school system, graduated, went to Mayoral Community College, worked for the Department of Corrections, 18 years, 2 more to go. Can't wait for that 20-year mark so I can retire. Married, I have 3 children in the school system. Actually, my oldest is a junior at UMass Lowell in the engineering program. My daughter, Kai, actually, Pat, is my daughter's mentor, sitting here giving me the time. She's going to be going into her freshman year here at the high school into the STEM program, and she was also 2nd place in the state in the science fair, thanks to her help. And the little one is going into the 1st grade at the Kennedy School. So, and actually, my wife, Danina, she works for the school system. She's the job coach, working with kids with disabilities and getting them into higher education and actually into the workforce. Newcomer to the political scene, but always in the background watching what's going on with this city. Was going to put my foot in the race last election, just wanted to tie up some things. So Brett Gormley, Ward 4, we go back, junior high football. It was always in my head, Tony, you're a good candidate. You should go out there, the fights, the struggles that needs to be done in the school, from infrastructure to classroom, all arrays of issues that come with the school department. Being a child of an immigrant and going through the first 3 years in the school system in the bilingual program, I just want to make sure that those kids are afforded the opportunities that I didn't have when I was going through the school system. Being that with different cultures, it's not just Cape Verdeans, it's Haitians, Spanish, Brazilians, Louisians. There's a lot of different languages there and culture. We just want to make sure that our teachers, our administrators in the school system actually have the training to deal with these individuals. From autism, what is the school department doing to address these issues with kids with disabilities, to make sure they have more than enough training in the education to move these kids forward. But I think I have 30 seconds left, and thank you. Get out there, vote. Reach out to the people. This is a great event. Thank you again, NAACP, for hosting this event, and meet the candidates. And we get it going. I didn't practice for this.
Thank you, candidate Rodriguez. Let's have a round of applause for both of our candidates. Okay, we'll take a break here. We'll be right with you. 20 seconds.
Breaking news, I just got the list from Phyllis, our president of the NAACP. This is the time where we're going to hear from the ward candidates for city councilor, 7 wards here in the city of Brockton. And we're going to start with Ward 1, where I live first. We're going to start with Tim Cruz, the Ward 1 councilor. Tim.
Thank you very much, and thank you to the NAACP for having this event. I was talking to Phyllis down in the room, and the meet and greet was as important as this is to me, because when I grew up in the city and got active, we had a very active newspaper, and you knew who everybody was. Nowadays, people know by name, but they don't know by face. So many of you know who I am, Tim Cruz. I've been on the city council for 14 years, looking to come back for 2 more years. Lots of people say the city has changed. I don't think it's changed that much. I think it's just grown in the same direction it always was. It's always been a city of immigrants. My grandparents came over 100 years ago. Other people's parents and grandparents have come over in the last 5 or 10 or 15 years. Many of the same issues. And lots of people left the city 100 years ago because they didn't like the Irish coming in. I look at now, I talk to people who don't understand how great a city Brockton is from outside, because they think what they see is terrible. It's what has made me keep my children here. All 3 of my children went to Brockton High. Both of my sons were the co-captains of the soccer team at the time. And it's amazing to listen to them is what makes you really feel strongly about this city, is they don't see groups of immigrants. They don't see faces of color. They just see people they've known since they were born. And it's amazing to me how important that is, and how important it is to my wife and I, that I love to tell stories about going to graduation every year, which as a city council, we get to march in. I believe one year that Sue Zakowicz told me there were 85 languages that could be spoken in the graduating class. If that's not the greatest education you can give somebody, then I don't understand what is. Those are the things that make the city great. I want to work with everybody to keep that city great, and I hope you'll vote for me again in September and then November. And in fact, I've somewhat been spoiled. I've not had opposition a lot of years. Somebody said, "Oh, it's too bad you have opposition." I say, no, just the opposite. The opposition is good, because it makes us all talk about what the issues are, let the public know what we think and what we believe, and let the chips fall where they may, because they're all good people. All the people that are up here. In fact, I commend everybody who's running, and this year there's so many. It's very difficult to put your name out there. And it's very difficult especially in this day of the internet, with some of the things you read and hear, and I don't mind it, but it is tough on your family. So I commend all the people that are running. I'm glad to have, now don't get me wrong, I'd love to be out in the golf course right now, but I'm glad to have people running, because it is what keeps us looking at the issues. And it's what keeps us making sure that I understand and everybody understands what the problems are that face everybody. So I have 15 seconds left. I'm just going to say, Tim Cruz, I hope you'll vote for me in September and in November, and thank you very much for the opportunity.
So in Ward 1, there are 3 candidates for office. I don't believe the second person on the list is here, but if not, correct me if I'm wrong, it's Steve Lanus. Not here? Okay. So next up is Daniel Lawton, who is running for Ward 1 City Councilor. Daniel, come on up.
The last time I was behind a podium was in the 8th grade, so it's been a while, but I'd rather just talk to you because I don't need a microphone. My name is DJ Lawton. Bob Sullivan, his house is where my grandparents raised my family. I own yeah, but I'd rather talk to you because I hate mics. But so you need it for television. So here's the story. I live in Brockton, over on the west side in Ward 1, and I own a sandwich shop in Boston. It's called Roast Beast. We make the greatest sandwiches in the world. And I've been living in Brockton for 4 years, and I've seen the city under Bill Carpenter, and it's a great city, and it could be so much more. And this year I was inspired to run for city councilor because I really care and I want to make a difference. And I'm a small business owner. I went to BU, I graduated in 2009, and I've owned my own business my whole life. So balancing a checkbook, running a business, talking to people, shaking hands, getting the pulse of the community is what I've been doing my whole life. And So being from Brockton, my grandfather was a World War II veteran, grew up in Bob's house. I used to sleep there when my parents got mad at me in snowstorms. They'd send me and my sister over there. And I live on Santee Road, and I see a lot of stuff in Brockton that hasn't happened in a long time. And I think if there was vision, if there was youth, if there was term limits and people weren't on the city council for, 15, 20 years, if you're president of the United States and you can't get it done in 8 years, you're fired. You're not getting elected again. And so we have an opportunity, just like we spend over the next 9 years, $54 million on water that we barely use when we could have bought the Aquaria plant a long time ago. And, we could spend that money on schools. We could spend that money on after-school programs for kids. There's so much real estate around Brockton that could be developed. Look what Lynn's doing. They have high-rises everywhere. And you drive out of Brockton High. I used to get watermelon coolers at Friendly's. And that's just a parking lot. Nothing's happened there. So, I'm running for Ward 1 because I really care. I love the city. I'm not going anywhere. And it means a lot to me. And I want to make a lasting impact on the city and do it for 2 to 4 years and then pass it on to someone. Because people should be inspired to give back to their community, just like my grandfather and my other family members. My father's been working in Brockton, my uncle, all my family members, So we should embrace that and get other people to do it. But I really appreciate you guys and the NAACP for having me. And this is really an honor. It's the first time for me, so thank you very much. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you.
So just to let you all know, you will see all the faces on Brockton Community Access during this whole campaign. This is the first candidate event, and I know some of our shows are having people on, and definitely get in touch with us because everybody will get a chance to educate the voters. So Ward 2 is represented right now by Tom Monahan, but he was unable to attend today's debate, so we will move to Ward 3. We have 2 candidates for Ward 3 City Councilor. We have the current councilor, Dennis Anieri, who's going to go up first. Dennis?
Thank you and good afternoon. And I want to thank the NAACP for hosting this event this afternoon as well. It's always a great pleasure, a great honor when you're able to come in to Brockton High School and into a room with a crowd such as this, similar to almost what Councilor Cruz said. We're hearing, we're seeing different types of people than even when I was younger myself, when my parents and even my grandparents were all a part of the city. And I've been a lifelong resident here of the city of Brockton. Matter of fact, it'll be 65 years this coming Tuesday. Will be my birthday. So in celebration of that, I'm not going anywhere. I know there's some people that would like to see me go places, but I'm not. In any case, I'm just going to say, in brief, and I know I'll get razzed by my colleagues, but my political career started right here in 1979 as a member of the Brockton School Committee. And I was always proud to be a member of the Brockton School Committee because I worked with some outstanding administrators, Tom Whalen, Matt George, Tony Louisi, Dan Kulik, people that knew education and taught us as school committee members. It was the greatest thing that I did. It was like going to college. It really was. But I learned it right here. And from that point, I had relocated. I was born in Ward 3 back in 1954. I left Ward 3, went to Ward 5, where I represented the school committee. But I came back to Ward 3 in 2003 to an open seat. And everybody asked that, why aren't you running for city council Ward 3? And I felt at that time maybe it was time for me to take a little break. But in any case, people came at me, wanted me to run. I ran. I was elected by a mere 25 votes against a very popular person that had lived in Ward 3, and it was an election that went to a recount. And I've been serving the people of Ward 3 for the last 16 years, and I'm very proud of that. I'm proud of what, not only what I've done, but I'm proud of the fact that the people in Ward 3 have showed me that respect for those 16 years. And in spite of that, I do have to say I've done a lot in the ward, and I'm very proud of that as well. But I've also worked with my colleagues to make sure that we're doing what's in the best interest of the city, and that's moving it forward. And now we need to continue to do that. no matter who that next mayor is, no matter how the council makes up or however the school committee makes up, we've got to continue to move the city forward. And I have to say, just as, and I say it, in light of the fact that we lost a mayor, the first one in 70 years who was holding a public office, but what was his slogan? It took a carpenter to build the city. And when he stood in front of everybody just several weeks ago before he passed, he said what? He said, I'm running for re-election because you know why? Brockton is under construction. And they are. It is under construction. And you know why? Because as much as some members and all of us had our own opinions of what the mayor was doing, we still worked with him to do what we had to do for the best interest of the people of this city of Brockton. That's why I'm still running for Council Ward 3. That's the job I'm going to do for the next couple of years. I will continue to work. I will endlessly work for it. Being retired, now I'm home. I can do it. And she's waving it. I just got that extra second because I'm the old guy, but I appreciate it. So just remember me on November the 5th, Tuesday, November the 5th, when I have my election. I'm not on the primary ballot, but thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming today. Thanks.
Next candidate for Ward 3 City Council is Marlon Green. Come on up, Marlon.
Thank you. Thank you to the NAACP and to Ms. Phyllis Ellis and her leadership team for doing something that is of great value to me and to the community at large. And that is simply bringing the community together in this fashion to engage each other and to engage the other candidate. That is priceless in the city of Brockton. So again, Ms. Phyllis, and to the NAACP, thank you for bringing the community together today. For those of you who don't know, my name is Marlon Green, and I humbly submit to you today that I am a candidate for Brockton City Council to represent the great ward of Ward 3. Approximately 30 years ago, two of the most courageous and selfless individuals that I know, my parents, Bertie and Loris Green, made the bold decision to relocate my siblings and I from the great island of Jamaica to the wonderful United States of America. And they did that decision, and they made that decision with all intentions of securing a stronger and a sure future for their children and for generations to come. They did that simply because they wanted more for their kids than they had as adults. Over those 30 years, we have benefited tremendously from this country and from the great city of Brockton. I was able to go off to college and to be the first in my family to graduate from college with an undergraduate in economics. And then I went on to undergraduate school and completed my master's in management. For the past 18 years of my life, I have committed myself to serving my community through the avenues of ministry. I've brought people together all across the other spectrum for a positive outcome. The impetus of my campaign is similar to that of my parents, leaving a strong and a better legacy for our generations to come. The impetus of this campaign is similar to that of my parents and to that of this event today, bringing the community together. Bring everyone together at the table where you have a voice, you have a say, and you're fully aware of what is going on in your community. In the words of the late Toni Morrison, as you enter positions of trust and power, dream a little before you think. And so today, my friends, I dream of a city and a ward where the quality of life is significantly higher. I dream of a city and a ward where we're all fully engaged. I dream of a city and a ward where we are building today for a better tomorrow. Thank you, and join me as we build.
Let's move on to Ward 4. Susan DeCastro does not have an opponent, but she would love to address the wonderful folks in the room.
Good afternoon. I want to thank the NAACP for hosting this very important meeting. And I also thank Brockton Community Access for recording this meeting and playing it lots of time on the several cable access channels. Yes, I'm Susan DeCastro. I've been a Ward 4 counselor for almost 2 years. This is the end of my first term. And I've been very fortunate to represent Ward 4, where I've lived for almost 30 years. In 2018, I addressed 168 constituent calls and phone calls to me or people coming up to me with issues, and I'm on track to have many more than 168 in 2019. Last year I held 3 ward meetings. I will be holding 4 ward meetings this year. I've already had 2. I host a show on the cable access channel. It's called Facts on 4. It's the longest 10 minutes of my life. It's just very hard for me, but it's an informational show. I'm due to be recording another one. Please look for it on Brockton Cable Access. I keep a list of the streets that have to be paved, and I get involved in all sorts of issues which affect my Ward 4 residents. I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve Ward 4. I ask Ward 4 residents to vote for me on September 17th. It's really important that you vote for me as opposed to just doing a blank. I want to know, I'm seeing it as a popularity contest. I'm unopposed, but I want to know that you like what I'm doing so that I continue working harder. Thank you very much.
And we happen to be very glad that Susan does a television show, and so does Councilor Ann Beauregard, and that's what cable television is all about, informing the community about the activities and events that go on here in the City of Champions. So let's move to Ward 5, where first up will be, and that is now an open seat because Ann Beauregard chose to run for councilor at large. So there are 3 candidates running. One of them could not be here, which is Doris Smith. But first up is Cindy Ethier Koska. Come on up, Cindy.
I'd like to first thank the NAACP for inviting me today. Public safety, education, better schools, business, infrastructure, improvement of city services, entertainment, culture, and diversity. Those are some of the buzzwords that we'll be hearing throughout this political season, not just here in Brockton, but everywhere. I have been involved in things here in the city of Brockton for 30 years, maybe a little bit longer. I'm a lifelong resident of Brockton. I've been here 50 years. I'm a 5th-generation Brocktonian. And through my involvement in many organizations, I've met many wonderful people, and that's why I stay in Brockton. I'm the last of my family to be in this city. One of the important things here is that business. We really need to expand our commercial tax base to try to alleviate some of the burden on our residential taxpayers. And something that I've been doing is I believe that business is crucial to Brockton because it brings growth and innovation to our city. It stimulates economic growth by creating jobs, entrepreneurship, locally made products, and helps to build a community identity. I will work to attract businesses to create vibrancy so all businesses in the area will be successful. I have already, as a candidate for the Ward 5 City Council seat, been meeting with and speaking with business owners, business property managers, employees, developers, about improving the business districts on the east side. And I know that Brockton needs to be more business friendly. We need to streamline the business permit processing to be more inviting. One of the things I'm doing is spearheading an establishment of an East Side Business Association. We have one in Campello, downtown, and Montello. We have a lot of business on the east side, and we need to have a business association over there as well. We need to give our residents and our guests here in the city a place to go, and we need to make our parks safer. We need to make them more inviting for the children. I have already spoken with the park department about having wheelchair-type swings for our disabled children here in the city, because we need to make them accessible to everyone. And I am really proud to be from Brockton. I really love this city. I am really happy that my children, I went to Brockton High School and Brockton Public Schools. My children graduated from Brockton Public Schools, but unfortunately, they're not in Brockton anymore. My daughter went to college in Philadelphia. She earned her bachelor's in culinary arts, and now she's a chef in New Jersey. Those are talents that could be here in Brockton. My son, who's very known in the city for his volunteer work, now he's doing his volunteer work in New York City. We need to give our children a place to come back to and to build this city. Thank you.
Next up, Jeffrey Thompson, who was also running for Ward 5 City Council.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Phyllis and the Brockton NAACP for hosting this event. I really enjoyed speaking with all of you today. My name is Jeffrey Thompson, and I'm a candidate for Ward 5 City Council. I was born and raised on the east side of Brockton. I reside there now with my wife and our 3 daughters, 2 of them in the Brockton Public School System, our oldest in Massasoit. I'm a proud veteran of the United States Navy, and I'm a practicing attorney with a law office here in Brockton. I'm currently a member of Brockton's Zoning Board of Appeals, and before that, I was a member of Brockton's Licensing Committee. So I do have experience dealing with the issues that affect Brockton. Now, I believe in the tremendous potential of this city. Our late Mayor Carpenter started us on a path to growth. As Ward 5 City Councilor, I will work with the next mayor and the next city council to continue our city along that path of growth. And why is that important? Because Brockton faces some serious infrastructure issues. We are all seated here today in a school that's 50 years old. Brockton has a water infrastructure that's almost 150 years old. We have a police department that has outlived its usefulness. And on the east side of Brockton, we have many roads that are in dire need of repair. Now, we must address these important infrastructure needs. But one thing is clear. We cannot do it on the backs of Brockton's existing taxpayers. We already pay a lot in taxes. The only way to address these needs is through growth and widening our tax base. That's why I believe as a city, we must continue to execute the Brockton Downtown Action Strategy and attract new residents and new businesses to our downtown. We must also continue the planning and the development of the CSX property, which is the next stage in the revitalization of our downtown. And we must begin the planning to develop the Christos block. Now, as Ward 5 City Councilor, I will be a leader on these issues. As a City Councilor, I will be an advocate for the taxpayers of Brockton. And as City Councilor, I will endeavor to make sure that your voices are heard when these important decisions are being made. And lastly, as City Councilor, I will work to change the perception of Brockton so that one day all people will see Brockton the way I see it, as a city with a proud history and a bright future. Thank you.
We move now to Ward 6, where we have 2 candidates running in the Ward 6 race. First up is Julio Pomar, candidate for Ward 6 City Council.
I don't usually use the mic as my voice carries, so if I'm a little too loud, I apologize. My name is Julio Pomar. I want to be the next city councilor for Ward 6. I want to be the voice for the ward. And so being the voice of the ward, I hope to be the voice of the city of Brockton. I was born in Peru in South America. I came to the United States in 1969. My mother, my father, my 4 older brothers. My mother unfortunately passed away. My father and 2 of my brothers still live here in the city. I graduated Brockton High in 1984. Right after that, I became a United States Navy corpsman. I learned how to take care of people in the medical field, and I've continued to do that. In 1994, I achieved my childhood dream. Not many people can sit there and say they played with fire trucks when they were little and that's all they did. I got to play with fire trucks as an adult. That's cool. I reached the rank of lieutenant. I went on and became a National Registered paramedic. And even though I've retired from the fire department, I am still an active duty paramedic. I could be seen on an ambulance in Boston any given day that I choose to be working, which sometimes would be more than I'd like to be. I've been a public servant my whole life, my whole adult life. I have somebody in their stands who knew me when I was a 16-year-old kid. And we could talk about what happened to this kid. This kid became an adult and now he's more responsible than he ever thought he could be at that age. My heart, in my chest, beats the heart of a public servant. I've served the public in the service. I've served it as a firefighter. I continue to serve as a paramedic. And now I want to serve it as an elected official. I want to be the elected official for Ward 6 and one of the people and movers and shakers here in the city of Brockton. I will work tirelessly for my constituents in Ward 6, as well as people here in the city of Brockton. I think Brockton's a great city, and it should say, I'm not from Brockton, but I'm from the great city of Brockton, because it is a great city. As far as I'm concerned, Brockton's the best city in the Commonwealth. If it's not there now, I'm going to choose to make it that way, because that's the way it needs to be. As Ward 6, as I walk around the ward, I see things that need to be changing. Some of the things I'd like to do is make sure that the residential areas stay residential areas. They have great family, great family, I wrote that wrong. Great family neighborhoods. And I like to keep them as family neighborhoods. The area called the Village, as we grew up, was very industrialized. And I like to make that industry come back again. I still believe Brockton is the greatest city. I'm going to make it the greatest city. I want you guys to vote me in for Ward 6, and we can start making Ward 6 a great ward, followed by a great city, the best city in the Commonwealth. I want to remind you also that on the 13th, which will be this Tuesday, I'll have a fundraiser at Tin Ray's from 6 to 9:30. I hope you can make it, and I hope you can vote for me on November 5th. Thank you.
Next up is Jack Lally, who is currently the Ward 6 City Councilor. Jack, come on up.
Hi, my name's Jack Lally. I'm the Ward 6 City Councilor, and I guess I'm the old man now. Now, I want to start off with a story. So I ran for City Councilor the first time when I was 18 years old. And you have to go around, you have to get your papers signed and get all your signatures. And that's real easy to do when you're on your own street, because everyone's going to sign it no matter what. You know, Ward 6, as Julio said, is a fantastic ward. It's great. It's these neighborhoods where, you know, you grow up, there's a whole bunch of other kids, you can be let outside, and the parents know that you're going to stick around. It's fantastic. So I knew the whole neighborhood, and so I go around and I get a bunch of signatures, and then I start getting out of the neighborhood. I start going to areas where I wasn't as familiar when I was, 18. And I go to one house and I knock on the door and I say, "Hi, my name's Jack Lally, and I'm running for city council." And if you can imagine, I looked even younger. And so this guy looks really confused, and he says, "How old are you?" And I said, "I'm 18." And he opens the door, and he gets out, and he gets right up in front of me, and he goes, "I believe that people under 25 shouldn't be allowed to speak." And then he goes back inside. And I said, "Okay." And I went on to the next house, and then the next one, and the next one, and I won, and then I got reelected. So for the last 3.5 years, I, whether he likes it or not, have been speaking on his behalf. it is. And I bring that up because it's very important. There's no limit. There should be no limit. You know, you don't earn the right to get to express yourself at a certain age. You don't just reach 25 and you're allowed to contribute to humanity. I'm proud that, you know, I can provide a different outlook. I'm proud that I'm young and I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm happy with, especially now that we've got, you know, 3.5 years. You know, we're 3.5 years ahead. I'm proud of the progress we've made. We're paving roads more than the average ward. We're getting things done. We're doing work with the schools. We're doing work with the parks. We're increasing the presence of the police department. We're making sure things stay as good as they are in the ward, because we have a ward that there's every reason to be proud of. An active ward, an engaged ward. This is the very first time I haven't had a preliminary election. We usually even have more candidates than what we have, but people put themselves out there. When we were looking to appoint an interim counselor at large, 3 of the 9 candidates came from Ward 6. That's what you want. That's what you want in a ward. That's what you want in a city. You want people who are engaged, who are involved, who call you and ask questions. And I tell them all, I promise everyone the same thing. I promise 2 things. I'm going to work as hard as I can, do everything that I can, and I will call you back if you give me a call. It's very important to remain connected. It's very important to communicate. That's the job, and if you don't want that, don't run. So I am proud of what we've done, and, you know, with your support, I'm proud of what we're going to continue to do. Thank you.
Okay, we will move on to the Park District of the City of Brockton, where DW Field Park is located, Ward 7, and we have 2 candidates running for Ward 7 City Council. We have Shirley Asak, who is currently the councilor, and she'll be up first. Shirley?
Well, hello, everybody. And thank you to the NAACP for hosting this forum. It's great to see so many people in the audience. First off, I've been your Ward 7 City Councilor for 6 years now, and I have to tell you, my first election 6 years ago was a scary one. I had many opponents, and I always joke around that it was so tough that first year that they let me have the next few elections when I didn't have any opponents, so which is good. But I would like to thank my opponent for actually putting his, for running, putting his hat in. We want to see people that are involved, that ask questions, that are part of the process. So I applaud that, and I'm always happy to see so many people that want to run in the city of Brockton. But as far as I'm concerned, 3 minutes isn't a lot of time for me to tell you what I've done in the last 6 years, but I pride myself in the fact that when I first ran, I promised that I would answer my phone all the time, and that's what I do. Constituent services is the largest part of this job. And yes, we're the legislative body. We create ordinances, and I have had a few passed, which I'm very proud of. And I can tell anybody who wants to reach out to me, I can tell you a little bit about them. But answering the calls, taking care of day-to-day issues are the biggest part of this job, and that's what I would like to continue for the next 2 years if I'm successful with this election. When I was first elected, I also promised to work with whoever was in office, whoever the mayor is, whoever my colleagues were, whoever was on the school committee, and that's what I did in the past 6 years. I have worked with the school committee. I have been on Beacon Hill with them, fighting for our kids to get more funding for our schools. I've worked with Mayor Carpenter to move our city forward with new development, and actually, I also pride myself. In the 6 years, I've had 8 streets paved, which is a lot for a ward, which is really great. And I hope to get many more in the future. So that's always a goal. And I've worked with my colleagues. I like to say that I respect everybody's vote. We don't always vote the same way, but I respect them, and I like that I worked I like that I work well with them, and that our main goal is to move our city forward, and that's what I hope to do in the next 2 years to come, move our city forward, because I think that's why we're all here. That's why we're all here today. We have a common goal, and that's for the betterment of Brockton. So I hope I have everybody's vote. Come November, please vote Shirley Azak, Ward 7 City Councilor. Thank you.
Thank you, Shirley. Next up, we have Michael Nunes, who's a challenger. He's running also for Ward 7 City Councilor, and as soon as Michael is done, we're going to do a quick set change. We're going to bring all the candidates that are running for councilor at large, and then Phyllis Ellis will come up and introduce each one of them at a time. So, Michael, come on up.
Good afternoon. Just kind of nervous. Let that out there. My name is Michael Nunes. Born and raised in Brockton. My parents did come from Cape Verde Islands. I lived in Ward 7 my whole life. I'm 28. And I really do have real changes and goals for the city. And I envision a city with big dreams. You know, there's cities around us with new fire stations, new police stations, better parks, new parks, everything better than Brockton. People ask me, where are you from? I'm from Brockton. And they go, oh, Brockton? I want more like, oh, Brockton. That's the type of Brockton in the city that we want. So I envision better DW, Field Park, of course, new paved roads, we need it. It's hard to run in there and jog. You might trip over a pothole. I envision swan boats, you know, paddle boats, NDW, archery, activities for our children. I'm tired of driving up and down Oak Street with traffic. I envision 2 lanes. I don't understand why it's sectioned off, 2 lane, 1 lane, 2 lane, 1 lane, all the way down. It's wide enough. I took my time and went out there and measured it, believe it or not. It's wide enough, okay? It's wide enough. Now, if you start from Cape Cod all the way up, cities are changing intersections. They're getting rid of red lights. It's a maintenance we don't need. They're adding roundabouts, not rotaries, but roundabouts. A lot smaller, about 150 diameter. And now we could have one of those roundabouts at the end of Oak Street when it's double lane and Main Street. Reduces the traffic that's there. Sometimes I wait from Dairy Queen all the way down to the lights, probably for like 10 minutes before I pass it, honestly. And there's people with that right lane trying to cut you off. It's a hazard. It's a safety hazard. Also, we have the Westgate Mall, which is real good for us. I understand. I'm pro-casino. I don't know if anybody here is pro-casino, but I'm pro-casino. I think the Westgate Mall could transform into a casino resort right off the highway. We keep the stores in there. We keep the local business in there and charge them less for rent and stuff like that. And we have a whole resort in Brockton. And that's where the tax money will come from to provide for our streets, our schools, our police, and a new fire station. Rather than trying to sell the Howard School on Main Street, we could fund it to be the new fire station, the headquarters that we need. And we could turn the first fire station with electricity into a museum as we deserve. We deserve more arts in our city. For example, the George Snow Park on East and Main, nice lights they fixed, but they don't take care of it. The grass is overgrown, the bush is overgrown, and we could update that and attract more people to live in our communities. Thank you. Michael Nunes.
So we're going to move on to the councilor at large races. Thank you to all the candidates for city council that had the courage to put your name on the ballot for election. And I'm going to have Phyllis Ellis come up, and if all the candidates for councilor at large will please come down.
Hello. Is everyone here?
He wants to adjust something up there.
Who does?
He wants the tallest person standing. I guess that's me.
Oh, that is you. Get on up here, Win. Hello. Good evening. Afternoon. I'm Phyllis Ellis. A couple announcements, please. We also have voter registration out front. I understand we have registered some voters. So if we have unregistered voters here in this room, please go out to the front at your leisure to register to vote, because we all know elections has consequences. All right? We're changing of the guard here. Next up is councilors at large. We have quite a few members, people running for councilor at large, so we're going to get started. First up is Mark Adams. Mark, are you here? Okay.
Thank you, Phyllis, and thank the NAACP for having this event. It was nice to meet a good number of you. Can't hear it? Hello? All right. I have to get really close to this thing, I guess. I'm just meeting a number of you for the first time today, so I'm going to use this opportunity to just briefly introduce myself. I'm Attorney Mark Adams. I'm running for councilor at large. I've been in practice. I have a law practice here in Brockton. I've been practicing law in Brockton for going on 30 years. It'll be 30 years this January. I've been a lifelong resident of Brockton. I have 3 children. They've all grown up here. 2 have already graduated from college, and I have 1 who's a sophomore at UMass Amherst, which is my alma mater. But enough about me. I don't have an awful lot of time here, so rather than getting into specific issues, what I do want to address is I want to suggest that there are basically three main qualities you need in a counselor for the city of Brockton. One is to be able to listen to your constituents, to listen to others, to listen to your fellow counselors. The other is to be able to work with people, and I think you've heard that quite a bit consistently with the ward councilors, is that you're going to have to work with people. You're going to have to work with the administration. You're going to have to work with the mayor. You're going to have to work with department heads. You're going to have to work with your fellow counselors. And lastly, the main job, I think, is to advocate. You have to be a zealous, consistent, and a persistent advocate for the residents and the inhabitants of Brockton. And quite frankly, I've kind of been doing that for the last 30 years as a practicing attorney. I've been pretty good at it. And I would suggest to you that I would like to do that in the public service as a counselor at large in the city of Brockton. And I ask, out of your 4 votes for counselor at large, you consider casting your vote for Mark Adams. Thank you.
Next up, we have Miss Ann Beauregard. She's currently Ward 5 counselor. Now she's running for counselor at large. Miss Ann.
Good afternoon, and let's thank all the volunteers in this city. Some of them are here today. Some of them were downtown this morning working with the Mothers Against Gun Violence. And some of them are right now working with hundreds of kids, running a basketball tournament with the police department and retired police, because that's what Brockton is, volunteers. Brockton is also a community that values their veterans, and let's thank them every day, because that's why we have the right to vote. And that's what we're looking for you to do on September 17th, where the polls open at 7 a.m. and they're open till 8 p.m. And by the way, if you happen to not be around, you can do an absentee ballot. Again, I'm Ann Beauregard. I'm the Ward 5 City Councilor. Currently, I'm running at large because I opened up this spot to see more activity, more faces, more ideas, and more hardworking, remarkable people that make up this city with their skills, their experience, and their talent from the places they come from, the places they've been, and the places they are going. This is Brockton, a city of 100,000 people with remarkable students that receive more scholarships than any other school in the Commonwealth. And I plan on doing a lot more, as I have for the past 20 years, to work with education. I want to see infrastructure change, and that's why I call our U.S. Senator, Markey, once a month to ask him, where's our infrastructure money? Have no fear, they're afraid of me, and they're working on that. Meanwhile, I am working on a proposal to try to, how would I say it, move forward the antiquated way that we try to get our streets from private to public. Will it happen overnight? No, but nothing worthwhile happens in a minute. Public safety means police, it means people, it means ambulances, it means firefighters, and we have worked very hard to see all that happen in this community, and we're going to continue to do so. We're going to see our how would I say, mobilized, and we're going to recognize the fact that we have 3 hospitals in the city of Brockton, 3 places for you to be served in some way, shape, or form with your health issues. And Brockton Neighborhood Health Center, serving not only this city, but serving thousands from other communities in downtown Brockton and growing all the time. Economic development. Well, I have been affiliated with the Metro South Chamber of Commerce for over 20 years now. It's my decision. We want to work to see economic development. Bioscience. Oh, yes, luxury apartments. Oh, yes, restaurants and more. We want to see development, and we want to include you in it. Remember, you own this. You can't put it on eBay, and you can't have a yard sale. And most of all, we want to recognize the arts and culture that is this community, and I've been involved with that, and I will continue to be involved with that. Thank you, everybody, for giving me this chance.
Miss Beauregard. Next up, we have Kevin Borges.
Good afternoon. My name is Kevin Borges, and I'm running for City Councilor at Large. I want to thank Phyllis Ellis and the NAACP for giving me this opportunity here this afternoon. I've lived in Brockton for over 25 years. My wife, Tony Belmosto, and I reside on the east side where we are raising our family. We have 2 boys, Alec, 15, and Dominic, 8. The Belmosto family have lived in the city for over 100 years. I work in city government. I'm a health inspector working for the Board of Health. As a health inspector, I travel around the city daily, working on enforcing Massachusetts 105 CMR codes, along with code enforcement, allowing me to understand the issues that the people of Brockton face. I'm also a member of the Receivership Task Force, fighting blight in our neighborhoods, going after zombie mortgages in banks that allow these vacant properties to sit abandoned for years. I also am a Brockton Parks Commissioner, working to maintain and improve our parks and recreation areas around the city. I'm very involved with the youth of our city, coaching baseball at the Downey Youth Baseball League, having been vice president there for the past 10 years. I've also coached basketball for many years with the Brockton Community Basketball. I will continue to work with our youth here in the great city of Brockton. I'm a member of the Tri-Parishes of Brockton, where I taught CCD for many years. Also, I'm a lector at Stonehill College, Father Peyton Center, and at St. Teresa's Parish here on Main Street in Brockton. As a real estate agent, I bring a wealth of experience in business, specializing in commercial real estate for over 20 years. I've worked with Fortune 500 companies and national corporations. This knowledge will assist my ability to help with new businesses coming into the city, as well as economic development. I will always work with our small businesses. They truly are the backbone of our community. Continuing with economic development is key for the city moving forward, reducing taxes and stimulating school funding. I want to help the people of Brockton, working with our senior citizens and veterans to have a better quality of life. I will fight for our youth in the city keeping them off the streets and involved in organized programs. I want to make Brockton a better place to live. No matter who you are or where you are from, everyone will be treated equally and with the utmost respect. Brockton is a city of champions where we all stand together. Please consider me, Kevin Borges, for Councilor at Large. Thank you.
I don't want to seem biased, but there are a lot of women running this year, and I'm happy about that. Next up, we have Tina Cardoza.
Thanks, Phyllis and the NAACP for inviting me. Hello, friends. You are all my friends, no matter where you're from, no matter what color you are, no matter what your politics. I care about you, I care about this city, and that's why I'm running. My name is Tina Cardoza. I'm a registered nurse for over 20 years. The bulk of my career has been at the Boston Medical Center. I am mother of 3 beautiful kids who all graduated from here, and they all went on to higher education. My oldest is getting a PhD right now. My second is a school teacher, a master's prepared in Boston, and I'm graduating my third child from UMass Amherst. Brockton High did that. They afforded me the opportunities to get these kids to where they are now. I'm very proud of Brockton High, proud of this city, proud of the people in this city that are doing their best every day to take care of our youth, our vets, our elderly, our homeless, those battling drug addiction and other substance abuse. I care about all of that. That's what I do. I get up every morning and what I do is care for people. So you can bet your bottom dollar that I will care for you. When people ask me who I'm supporting you. I'll always will support you. When people ask what I'm going to do for this city, what I'm going to do is work with you to make it a better city, because it takes all of us. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on people who are running to answer this question, that question, what are you gonna do? What we need to do is work together. I'm running on unity. Brockton should be a model city for diversity, inclusion, and unity. And it takes all of us to work together to make it even better. Okay, so I'm not gonna talk for long. I just came from work. I couldn't get out of my shift, and I just had my event the other day where I spoke. So I'm a little bit, off balance right now. But the one thing I want to say, it takes a lot of guts to run for office. I did it 2 years ago when I ran in Ward 3, and I nearly lost my companion, my kids. My home was a mess. It's not easy. There's a lot of us running. I think you guys took an important first step to come here to listen to people. Thank you to the NAACP for doing that, because that's what needs to happen. Not listening to Facebook and, and gossip and rumors, listening to the candidates and making a decision on who you're going to vote for. So I'm proud of you all for doing this today. Stop the negativity on Facebook. The candidates work very hard. It's not easy to do this. It takes a lot of your time, so they deserve the respect. Thank you very much. Love you, Brockton.
And one clarification, the Brockton area branch NAACP, we cannot endorse candidates, but we can wish you guys good luck. So good luck. Okay. Next up is Jeanette Kayer.
Thank you. Thanks to NAACP for having us here. And I want to thank all of you for coming. It is a great thing when the citizens in Brockton are involved, and we need more citizen involvement. With all the voters that we have registered in Brockton, and we have you here, there should be more. We need better community access to information so that people know what's going on. My name is Jean Kerr. I'm a property manager. I've been a property manager for 30 years. I deal with budgets, I deal with vendors, everything that the city does, I do now. I've been doing for 30 years. On September 17th, I look for your vote. And on August 27th at 5:30, I will have a fundraiser at Tommy Doyle's, and I invite you to come and meet me, and we will talk in depth about what I am all about. Thank you. Have a great day.
Brief and to the point, like that. A familiar name, Larry Curtis.
Thank you, and good afternoon, Phyllis. Thank you, and the NAACP for hosting this forum. My name is Larry Curtis. I am a 20-year resident here in the city of Brockton. I chose to become a first-time home buyer here back 20 years ago, and I've loved every minute of it that I'm being here. I want you to indulge me for about 30 seconds. I'm going to ask everyone in this room to please stand up right now. Just stretch your legs for 30 seconds. Stand up, please. Now, I want you to turn to your neighbor, front, left, right, and I want you to introduce yourself. Introduce yourself to the residents and the community of this city. Look at what's happening. Engaging. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Now, I have a tagline that was special, and I thank every one of you because I have a tagline. It's very simple: building a better Brockton with common sense leadership. I know I have leadership capabilities. I've been in healthcare support services for 49 years, and I've loved every minute of it. But building a better Brockton is more than just bricks and mortars. Mayor Carpenter, 6 years ago, initiated two great buildings in our great city. One was initiating hiring Rob May back when he became mayor as our economic development person, and we've seen that impact in this city. We see it every day out there today. Thank you, Rob. Secondly, Mayor Carpenter lit a fuse underneath the minority communities, Haitian, Cape Verdean, African American, Greeks, to realize that we, as a voting bloc, are going to be a powerful voting bloc in this city. And look where we are 6 years later. We have more minority candidates running for office. We have minority candidates that have been elected to office. That is what building a better Brockton is all about. If we don't come together, we will all ultimately die and sink out there. That 30-second jovial experience is what I want to bring to the candidacy as a councilor at large. I ask for your support on September 17th as one of the 4 city councilors at large. Thank you.
A man who needs no introduction because he's so tall, Win Farwell.
Thank you, Phyllis. Thank you to the NAACP for sponsoring this. And to all of you here, Brockton could not have been better to my family or to me. My great-grandmother was the first woman elected to office in 1881, and I have hopefully continued the progress in public service. Okay. So you have the right to know a couple of things when you consider a candidate. What is their philosophy and what is their agenda? And I'm going to mention a couple of things quickly that are important to me. The first one is integrity. All of you here and every resident in this city has the right to expect that we will approach every issue and every vote we take with integrity. Is it right for Brockton? Is it right for all our residents, whether you've been here a day, a week, a year, or decades? Number two, you have a right to expect that when we cast our vote and we make a decision on a policy, we have done so after carefully researching and analyzing all of the relevant facts and then deciding, again, is it right for Brockton and is it right for the residents? Because if it isn't, then you shouldn't support it. Councilors are not a rubber stamp. We're not in a ceremonial position. We should work at what we do because the challenges in this city demand that. The other thing that's important is you need to know my agenda. And I have several points that I think are absolutely important for every candidate. Open, honest government. Everyone deserves equal access to information, programs, services, safe neighborhoods, city jobs. No excuses, end of discussion, period. Equal access and equal opportunity. Number two, we need comprehensive neighborhood crime programs. I'm not satisfied with just one officer assigned citywide. He can't possibly do that job. We've got to go back to Neighborhood Crime Watch. Number 3, absolutely economic development. Economic development, very important, but every project, particularly if you're going to do housing, you have to evaluate what will the impact be on schools. We certainly don't want to put 300 apartments in an area that might require busing of children from that area to another school because the school is already overcrowded. And the last thing I would say is, for God's sakes, let's reconstruct our streets. I mean, we have streets in this city that haven't been touched in 40 and 50 years. People don't even want to drive their cars down the streets because they're afraid of the damage that might occur. Let's have a comprehensive program to go throughout the whole city, identify the streets, and then have some idea of when we can get that work done. So I humbly ask your support for another term. I've been the mayor, I've been in the school committee for 10 years, now I've been in the city council. I enjoy the work, and I again humbly ask for your support.
Thank you, Wynn. Next up, we have Mr. Scott Hall.
Hi, everybody. I just want to say how great it is to see so many candidates running for office this time around. I think it's a huge step in the right direction as far as getting the city to a better state of affairs. I mean, we definitely need to expand the tax base. Not only that, by attracting businesses, that's obvious. But not only that, there's things we can slash from the budget right off the bat. Right now, we use about 10 to 11 million gallons a day in the city of water, and we don't really use this desalination plant in Dighton, but we give them about $8 million a year. From what I understand, there were quite a few other solutions that would have been far more cost effective. For example, I've recently learned that right where Plymouth Street is, near the police department, there's a cavern and a river that runs through it from the White Mountains all the way to Narragansett. And we didn't need to pipe all the way down to Dighton. I'm not sure why we didn't just pipe from Silver Lake to Plymouth too. If anybody can educate me on that reason, I'd love to hear about it. We also have wells under the city, like the Kresge building, the old Kresge building, has plenty of water under it. My house, for example, used to be an old bathhouse, and from what I understand, there's a springs up where the old Franklin School used to be that, you know, there's springs under my house too, from what I understand. And we also have the MWRA option that never really went through. I don't know. The desalination plant just, it's a scam we don't need, I think. You know, my humble opinion. The other thing is all these foreclosed properties, there's a lot of mortgage fraud. I don't know if anybody remembers 2008 when the 6 mega bank, well, the mega banks are not 6 anymore. There were more than 6. They crippled the economy in 2008. And basically all those people that got foreclosed on, there's no revenue coming from the property taxes. There's a lot of fraud going on in that industry, and these courts need to really do something about it. I don't like how American jurisprudence right now seems to be guilty until proven rich. My name's Scott Hall. I wish I had more time. 3 minutes doesn't do me justice. I'm trying to get an extra minute here. But, oh, one more thing. Every Saturday, I will be at the Liberty Tree, at our Liberty Tree on High Street, also known as Frederick Douglass Road, from 4 to 5 every Saturday, weather permitting. If you want to talk about issues with me and rally the troops and, you know, make this city a lot better. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Scott. Next up, we have Ray Hennison. Ray Hennison. I think I know you.
I think I know you too.
Okay.
Well, it's hard to follow up with, well, we had the tallest guy in the room and the shortest guy here probably in the room. So my name is Ray Henningson. For those who don't know me, I was a school committee member in the city of Brockton. I served a term on the school committee. I am currently as a lifelong resident of the city of Brockton. I moved here back when I was 6 years old, so I consider myself a lifelong resident. I'm 6 years old I'm 49 right now. So I have two wonderful children, Megan, who is 21, who is at UMass Amherst in her senior year of college, and I have a lovely son, Sean, who's at West Middle School, which I always call a junior high. It'll always be a junior highs to me. I went to East Junior High. I went to Cardinal Spellman, where my mother worked as she cleaned houses to put me through that school. I went to Ashfield Elementary, so I've definitely been a resident of the city of Brockton for quite some time. A little bit more about myself. First of all, I want to thank the NAACP and Madam President for having us here today. I want to thank all of you for coming. I also serve as one of the vice presidents for the NAACP, which is a true honor and blessing in my opinion. But I want to also thank our candidates today, because it's not easy here to stand up here, talk about ourselves, run, raise money, get you to vote on September 17th, which is critical. We have a lot of candidates here, especially for Council at Large. We need you to come out and vote on September 17th, and then again on November 5th. What I bring to the table, well, I've been an accountant for 25 years. What that means is, unlike most of the other candidates who have great experience, I have the experience of being an accountant. I deal with money every single day. I've worked for billion-dollar companies. I've worked for million-dollar companies. 10 people, 10,000 people. I understand the processes of hiring, firing, budgets, and creative ways to manage budgets. Some of the things I want to deal with is renewed focus on education. I worked heavily on the No on 2 campaign that would take millions of dollars more out of our school system for increasing our charter schools. I would challenge all the candidates to speak on the charter school issue, as this was a serious issue that came to the city of Brockton. We're losing $10 million a year out of our city coffers for our school system that could go to our kids, that could go to this room, improving all of this stuff for us. So some of the things I want to do is, obviously, I want to improve our roads. Our roads are horrendous. My parents live on the east side. Go take a trip on the east side someday. Take a trip on a lot of parts of the city. It's like driving through, you need an SUV just to manage through this. And even then, you spend half the time bouncing up and down. You know, we need transparency and open government. We need to be more open and transparent on what we do and how we do it. We need to create a safer Brockton. That means giving our first responders, which is our firefighters, our dispatchers, a 21st century complex. That means we need to find ways to fund that too. So how do we fund those complexes? How do we fund all of these improvements? Well, we bring an increased revenue from an expanded tax base. That'll create tax stability with you. I can't promise, and none of our councilors can promise, your taxes won't go up. But the trick to doing that is to bring tax stability to our city, so you'll know what you're going to pay. Our businesses budget 5, 10, 15, 20 years out. They need to know what they're going to pay in taxes, because they can't keep raising their prices. I want to create a capital improvement plan that's going to look 5, 10, 15, 20 years out. That way we can figure out how we're going to pay for this. And I'm going to continue to advocate for diversity in our school system, in our city council, in our school, in our police department, in our fire department, and I'll continue to work for the city. I'm here for you. I'm not here for me. I don't need the $15,000. Half of it I donate anyway from the school committee. So I'm here for you. It's all about you. Vote for Ray Henningsen on September 17th, and vote for me on November 5th. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Ray. Brockton is really showing us diversity with these candidates running for council at large, and that's a good thing. Next up, we have Gary Keith.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Ellis, for hosting this event for us in the NAACP. A lot of you might know who I am, and the ones that don't, basically, my name is Gary Keith Sr., and I am a candidate for council at large here in our great city of Brockton. This is my 4th time running for this position, and people say, why running again? Because, one, I never quit on Brockton. I'm hoping that you never quit on me. With or without the title, I have consistently helped the citizens of Brockton, the businesses of Brockton, things that you don't know about because I never did it for the accolades. So the people that I've helped know who they are. But I will tell you this, I was instrumental in the 64-bed extension with Teen Challenge so they could actually treat the opiate addiction here that we have in Brockton. And as we were doing that, I looked upon their campus and I said to them, you have a lot of land out here. Why don't we go for another building? Well, they're getting ready to have their grand opening on their short-term program up here on the Main Street on the south side here. So I was instrumental in that. I was also instrumental in helping Lincoln Church open their doors when they were having problems with the city. How did I do that? I've actually, when the late Mayor Bill Carpenter was alive, after he was first elected, he appointed me to the planning board, and from there I actually served on the zoning board also 4 years on each. And we helped all these things that you see right now moving the city forward, as some of my, the candidates have said also that we're going forward. But I was instrumental in some of those things happening. Just from some of my experience, I'm a United States Army veteran. I have a background in law enforcement. I'm a former business owner and operated Bostonian Security Corporation. I was a 4-year member of the Planning Board. I was a 4-year member of the Zoning Board of Appeals, again, like I said, appointed by Mayor Carpenter. I was the local chairman for the Self-Help, Inc. Head Start program. I was the former chairman for the Head Start program for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I'm also a 34-year member of Jubilee Church, where I serve as a gatekeeper and an armor bearer. My slogans on my sign say experience matters. So everything that I've said is why I put that there. I've also been married to this beautiful lady over here for 33 years. We raised our 7 children here in the city of Brockton. All have gone through the Brockton public school system, and all are doing very well with their jobs right now, making their careers. Our youngest daughter, being 20 years old next month, is in Massasoit. So again, I'm asking you for your vote on September 17th to be your next candidate for council, to be your next councilor at large. And like I said, experience does matter, and with or without the title, I will continue to serve you. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Next up is Alejandros Cosmides. Did I pronounce that right? Cosmides. Okay.
Okay, let's hold it. Speech. All right, I'd like to thank you all for coming, and thank you for the NAACP for holding this event. Special thank you to Phyllis Ellis for inviting us all. And again, thank you all for coming here. Okay. My name is Alex Cosmides. You'll see me on the ballot as Alexandros, but you can call me Alex. I'm a local business owner. I own Heidi's Place. You guys might know it as the building that's gotten hit 6 times. But I was born in Dorchester to 2 Greek immigrant parents who came from Greece, obviously. They moved to Brockton in 1991, basically to get out of Boston, all the heavy traffic and all that stuff, and live a quieter life, better schools, and all that stuff. And I went to Brockton, I'll start. I went to Hancock School, went to West Junior High, and I graduated from Brockton High. And even as a kid in Brockton High, I worked at Brockton Cafe for many years, which I've met a few of you there over the years. And that's where I became, like, where I learned I wanted to be a chef. So over the years, I've trained and became a chef, and now I own my own restaurant with my mother, Maggie, who many of you also know as Heidi sometimes. But, yeah. I have a question. Is Brockton a good city? Yes. Is it a great city? Yes. Can it be better? Yes. That's why we're all here. We want to make it better. All right. A candidate earlier mentioned bringing in more businesses, which I would love to see. I would love to see more mom and pop restaurants, small businesses open up on Main Street, which every day there's new businesses, little tiny restaurants, great ones. Just next door near me is a nice little hole in the wall, Buena Vista. Great place, should to try it. But we should start looking at all the older buildings, the abandoned buildings that are there, developing them, bringing in just way more revenue. But the one thing is, recently in the news, there was a study on MassDOT. Said traffic is horrendous in the state, and in particular, Route 27 to Brockton, one of the worst areas for traffic. And that is actually causing people not to go out to other businesses and travel because they don't want to get stuck in traffic. So we need to look at that. We need to get the Traffic Commission to do some stuff, City Council to figure out what we can do to, stop the speeding in the city, stop everything. All the drivers that need to start paying attention to where they're going. Obviously, my business has been hit 6 times, so I'm a little passionate about that. But also, we need to start looking to bring in other revenue like the marijuana, the cannabis and all that stuff. We need the social equity licenses. They are approved by the state. In Good Health is giving 1.5% of their profit back to the city. If they get their recreational license, they'll give 3%, and they make $25 million a year now in profit. If they go recreational, they'll double and triple their profit, and that 3% will come back to the city. So I'm hoping for some stuff like that. And obviously, that will help with the opiate addiction and all that stuff, with the overdosing. Like, I work in High Point, and I've seen what happened recently. And we need, as a city, to take care of our citizens who are struggling. And thank you very much. Vote for me for September 17th. I'd like to hear it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Another lady, Rita Mendez.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Rita Mendez, and I am running for City Council at Large here in Brockton. So let me just tell you a little bit about Rita. I am originally from Brazil, and I came to the United States when I was 12 years old, and I did not speak a word of English. And then when I was 16 years old, my mother, she had to return to Brazil, and I was left in this country alone because no one wanted to be responsible for caring for a 16-year-old. However, there was someone that wanted to be responsible for caring for that 16-year-old, and that was myself. I chose to be responsible for myself, and at that time, I was attending Brockton High School. And I was fortunate enough that I was at this school, because at this school, I met my guidance counselor, and she took the time. She took the time with me. She took the time because she understood that I was going through very tough times in my life with no permanent home to live, and she put her trust in me, and she helped me not only to graduate from high school, but to be the first in my family to attend Massasoit, and she helped me get scholarship. So I was able to continue to maintain my grades, be able to go to Massasoit, graduate. From there, attend UMass Dartmouth, graduated from UMass Dartmouth, and then I finally went through law school while working full-time. While in real estate, I put myself through school, working at nights and studying and just really working hard to be there. So tell that story because I think it's important. And it's important. And today, a lot of people, they ask me, because I'm a practicing attorney here in Brockton. I'm very proud of it because I know how hard it was to get there. And I am a businesswoman. I am a lawyer. But most importantly, I am a mother, and I'm not a politician. And people have asked me, what do you mean about that? I mean that I am a mother. I'm a mother who's not afraid to fight for our children. I'm a mother who wants to ensure that our schools continue to hire dedicated teachers like that guidance counselor who really helped me be who I am today. And I'm a mother who's not afraid to fight for safety, not afraid to fight for our children. And I am here today, and I ask that you support me and consider voting for me September 17 and also November 5th in this election. Thank you so much for having me here today. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. Thank you. Thank you. Next up, we have Adius Pierre.
Thank you. Good evening. Hello? Yes, thank you. Good evening. Yes, my name is Adius Pierre, and I'm very happy to be here tonight. It's already like 4 o'clock, and I thank God for giving me the opportunity to talk. I thank you guys because it's a beautiful weather. Saturday, you could be anywhere that you want. You could be at the beach, but you come here because you care about Brockton. For that, I apologize you guys. 25 years ago, Brockton welcomed me with open arms. And I remember my first job I was making like $4.25. On Friday, when I got my first paycheck, I saved some money to pay for my bus pass. I sent some money to Haiti because I believe in family, and I went to school. From $4.25, I graduated with criminal justice. I graduated from the police academy, and now I'm working for the sheriff department. All that will have not been possible without the support of you and my family. And I thank God every day for that. I believe we need change in Brockton. But change will not happen without participating in the election that's coming up, September 17. I'm here to stay. I quickly realized also that Haiti is where I'm from, where I was born. But United States is my country, and Brockton is home. Therefore, I need to take care of home. I volunteer my time at the South Shore Haitian United for Progress. I mentor young people. Where I work in Plymouth, I took kids from the community every year for the past 5 years, twice a year. I brought them to Plymouth. I have inmates do presentation for them so they can stay away from trouble. Because as parents, I believe we must be proactive, not reactive. That's what I haven't been doing for the 10 years. On September 17, I want you to vote for me. Why? Because I believe in Brockton. I'm here to stay. I will fight for you. We all cannot go to City Hall, but you can send me to advocate for you. Brockton is a great city. I met a gentleman when I was doing door-to-door. He said, Mr. Pierre, if I vote for you, can you bring life again to downtown Brockton? I said, sir, I will bring life to downtown Brockton, but we need safety first. No business will come to Brockton if Brockton is not safe. That's why I'm promoting community policing, where residents can have a good relationship with the police officer. You see something, you will be more comfortable to say something. Please join me on September 17. Vote for me. I would fight for you because I'm a fighter, I'm not a quitter, and I'm here to stay in Brockton. Thank you very much. May God bless you. May God the great city of Brockton. May God bless America.
Thank you. Next up, we have our current mayor and candidate for council at large, Moses Rodriguez.
If I knew this was going to be like this, I would have charged admissions. But I'm glad to see all of you here today. As you know, I've been mayor in this city now for a month and a couple days since the passing of our former mayor, Bill Carpenter. And it's been interesting, to say the least. But I'm not here to talk about what we have been able to do in the month and a few days, or even some things that we plan on doing as mayor until January 6th. You know, it's nice to hear how people are looking to promise you the world. It's not as easy as it is. There's not a single person in this room or sitting back here that doesn't want safe streets, great schools, great roads, a lower crime. I want the same things. But the question that you should be asking is, how do we do that? But you hear people promising this stuff too. I mean, I remember as a kid, I think my first election was the Reagan years, and they were talking about those issues back then. And we're still in 2019 talking about the same old issues. And those people that have come before us are a lot smarter than I am. If they were talking about it back then, we're still talking about it today, it means that it didn't get done. So instead of sitting here telling you, I promise that I'm going to fix your roads, I'm going to fix your schools, I might have to do some of those as mayor, but not as a city councilor, because our job is to represent you and hold on to the purse to make sure that your tax dollars aren't being wasted. A lot of times when I said it from day one when I first ran some 5.5 years ago, that I didn't run for office to get along with anyone or to become anybody's rubber stamper. Because if that was the case, I wouldn't have done it. I did it because I believe we can do a better job in terms of representation to represent your interest and work with whoever is sitting as mayor to make sure that your wishes are carried through actions. Not just what I want to do, but what you as taxpayers in this committee want done. So I promise that within the next 5 months, I'll continue to do the will of the people as the mayor in this city. But I also want you on September 17th to go out and vote for me again as the councilor at large in this city. And if I so happen to be lucky enough to move on for September on, that you do this again in November. I thank you for your trust. I thank you for your friendship, because I consider you all friends. And please remember, go out and vote. It doesn't matter who you vote for, but remember, it's not about promises. It's about those that are willing to step up and do what they need to do to represent you. Thank you much.
We have our last candidate for councilor at large. Redding, are you here? Oh, come on up. And then we were going to the candidates for mayor. Don't go anywhere. You ready? Okay.
Good evening, Brockton. Today, and this hot sunny day, it is my pleasure to sit before you here to ask you to vote for me. But first, I would like to thank everyone. I would like to thank every candidate in this election, those who runs for city council at large, and also regional city councils, and also those who runs for mayor. And also thank you, Mayor Rodriguez. And thank you, NAACP. Thank you. My name is Bernardine Sylvester. I am a former Boston Special Police, a high school graduate, and also a Roxbury Community College degree student in criminal justice. I've lived in this city for about 10 years. My son is now 10 years old. I want what is best for him, and I want what is best for your child also. I'm here. Each time I see violence goes on and to Brockton, where I see human beings. So some guys have no humanity for each other, but to pull guns and knives and stab each other when they could be helping each other. But it's all because there's a lot of work to be done. We know the parents need help at home. My philosophy is that I feel I want government to give parents back control of their kids in their teenage ages, because that's how you're gonna have kids that are rowdy and violent and not listening, and then they're gonna wind up being hanging with gang members and doing the wrong thing. If their parents don't correct them at home, because government make parents afraid to correct them at home when they do wrong. I'm not saying a parent should put the blood of their kids out. I'm not saying that. But government should understand that when us as Caribbean or foreigners who move here, we moved in with our cultures and principles. But at the same time too, we take what's good from United States and we try to stay away from the bad things. Just as well as we try not to bring bad things to the United States as well. My thing is this: if we give parents, as government, if government give parents more control of their teenage kids, I'm not saying little kids, more control of their teenage kids, you will have a much more respectful teenagers, much more respectful of the next generation, less violence and less crime. And also, public safety is a must for me, as I'm coming from a background of Boston Special Police officers. I believe, from my point of view, observation that I've seen in Brockton, there's not enough patrols being done in the area, in the hot zones that it's supposed to be. And I feel that officers supposed to be on the beat, not in the precinct. Not in the precinct. Once they finish doing their police report or making an arrest, they should be right on their posts, patrolling our streets. And that's what brings me here. I love Brockton. I love the people of Brockton. And I'm asking you to vote for me, please, on September 17. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you to all the candidates. It's not on? Oh. You guys, thank you very much. You may exit the stage. Thanks, man. Okay. Yep. Take your signs. You're first. You're first. Oh, you are? Oh. Okay,
I'll do whatever.
Is that good?
Yeah. We stay here the whole time.
Okay. All right. Oh, Larry. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, guys. Where are the candidates for mayor? Candidates for mayor. Where are the candidates? Candidates for mayor. It's that. Oh, are you? Hi. I'm Karina. Nice to meet you. it out. Let's even it out some. All right, go Janet. Okay, hi guys, do we have everyone? Is everyone accounted for? Do we have all the candidates on? Can I have your attention, please? Jean. Okay, guys, let's take your seats. We got to get started. Am I shouting? Hello? Reclaiming my time. First up, this is not a debate. I have scheduled a debate for Thursday, September 12th. All the mayor candidates have not responded to me, but I am waiting on the venue. But the date is September the 12th. We'll have all the mayors out, and there will be a debate. Okay? Oh, yes, Mr. Lawton. Okay. Good luck to everyone. First up, we have a familiar name, Tony Branch.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize that was first. I would be remiss in my responsibilities, amen, if I first do not acknowledge the victims and the families that died in El Paso, Texas, and Dayton, Ohio. So for a moment of my time, amen, I'm going to have a moment of silence, and I ask that you join me in that. Is that all right? Amen. So let me just say this to you. A majority of the people in here know me, but I'm going to say this because I'm a spiritual leader. Donald Trump's rhetoric is getting people killed in America. Any candidate across this country that accepts that rhetoric is not qualified to be in an office, whether it's mayor, governor, senator, congressman, or representative. John F. Kennedy coined these words: ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. This election is not about me. I'm not running for mayor. You are. What can you do with the city of Brockton in order for its greatness to be realized? What can you do? The mayor of this city has to reflect your values. Now, I've heard a lot of people talk about Mayor Carpenter, the beloved mayor that died. But let me tell you what he said to all of us that were in attendance. He said the next mayor of Brockton would be a person of color. If you believe that, you need to clap your hands. Let me be absolutely clear. Yeah, I have a platform, but 45 School Street belongs to the people of this city. It doesn't belong to outsiders. It doesn't belong to people that might want some contracts. It belongs to each and every one of you. If you believe that, clap your hands. My job is to serve you. To serve you. Each and every one of you, regardless of your ethnic background, regardless of your race, regardless of your socioeconomic background, I'm trying to get elected to serve you. And this is what we're going to do. The Lopes case needs to be settled. We can't afford it if it goes further. If you believe we can do that, clap your hands. Y'all can do better than that. We're talking $20 million. If you believe we can do that, clap your hands.
If you believe that we can do an office of professional integrity, we got all these federal lawsuits against the city of Brockton from employees. We need to investigate what's really going on behind the scenes in employment. If you believe we can do that, clap your hands. I know my time is near. If you believe in rent stabilization, that is, I want to institute mandatory inclusionary housing. That is that if you convert 3 family houses and one of them are going to be a condominium, one of those goes to low affordable rent. If you believe that, clap your hands. If you believe in city contracts, if you've crisscrossed the city, you've seen the public works, the sidewalks are being done, the streets are being done, but I don't see people that look like me. If you believe the city contract should reflect the residents of this city, clap your hands. I'm not running for me, I'm running for you. God bless you.
Obviously, this is a very important office, and just in a moment of reflection, too, let's all remember the mayor that we just lost and all the mayors that have served this city so well and all the people that want to serve this city. So let's go right on to Jean Bradley Durancourt. Jean.
Hello, Brockton. How you guys doing? Very nice. I'm so happy to be here. But let me just get straight into it. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Joadley Durancourt, or you can call me the guy with the long last name or that big signs on the street. Yes, that's what some people call me. 8 years ago, fortunately, after facing one of the most devastating earthquakes in Haiti, my family brought me to America. And the place they chose for me was the city of Brockton. And ever since, that city has been my home, and I've been day in and day out doing everything that I could possibly to do. When I came in this country, I could not speak a word of English. This was 8 years ago. Fortunately, there was a program at the Brockton Public Library where I learned English as a second language. And as we speak, I'm seeing Malice up there. She was my first English teacher. Put your hands together for Malice up there, folks. Thank you. Thank you so much. While learning English at the Brockton Public Library, I got a job at Crystal's Restaurant. So many of you remember Crystal's Restaurant? Unfortunately, it's not there anymore. But I worked there as the boss boy for 2.5 years. Working there was one of the most experience that I could possibly have and will always forever be grateful. So here we are 8 years later. After learning English, went to Massachusetts Community College, graduated from Suffolk University, worked for a variety of politicians, former Mayor of Brockton, Linda Balzotti, State Rep Mike Brady, Senator Mike Brady, and of course, Governor Patrick. And in 2014, I worked for Raise Up Massachusetts to pass Question 4 to give earned sick time to every single worker in the entire state in the history of Massachusetts. And at that time, I was not a U.S. citizen. February 11, 2016, I became a U.S. citizen. And February 11, 2017, I announced my campaign to be one of your 4 city councilors at large. And as we speak, I am one of your 4 city councilors at City Hall. That's diversity we're talking about. By virtue of that blessing, because of you, I was fortunate enough to get a call from Elizabeth Warren to go to Washington, D.C., giving the Trump administration. But enough about us right now. Let's talk about politics. I choose to run for mayor because I believe in invest more in education for our children. Public safety, youth empowerment, seniors, homelessness. Because I think these things are very important. Here's what I said. We cannot talk about public safety without talking about education. And we cannot talk about revenue without bringing business in this city. Here's one thing that I will do for you. When I become the next mayor of Brockton, Main Street will be 2 ways on the my administration. So we can have more business coming down here. You will invest in quality education. So our children, no matter where they live, whether they live on the west side, the east side, the south side, the north side, will receive the best education. But how do we do this? In order for us to do something like that, we need bold, progressive leadership. People with backbone so we can do what we have to do. For too long, you got people been saying that I am a lifelong resident. I'm proud of that. But here's what I can tell you. At this point, we need somebody that can actually say yes and mean it and no and mean it. Because together, I strongly believe that we as a city, we do have the ability not just to talk, but also to do what we think is best for all of us. And I think now is the moment in the city of Brockton. We are at a crossroad where we have to make a decision. September 17 will determine what the next 2 years will be. So together, like I said, I want you to believe in Brockton. by voting for Jean-Bradley de Winencourt as the next mayor of Brockton. Let's do this. I love you all. God bless Brockton. God bless United States. And God bless all of you. Let's do it. I'll see you on the campaign trail.
I love the energy in the room of everybody. Next up, we have a new face to Brockton politics, Stephen Figueredo. Did I say Figueredo? Did I say it right? Stephen?
How you guys doing? My name's Stephen Figueredo. I was born and raised in Brockton. I'm not no politician, but I am tired and I'm pissed off. These people, they're not what they say they are. They make broken promises and it needs to change. I was talking to Jimmy yesterday. The city used to be so safe. You can just go out, and when the street lights come on, that means to get home. This is not for me. I'm not no politician. I'm just an upset resident of Brockton. And I feel Jimmy is a good guy to go with because I feel like he could bring us together as a community. I feel he can do a lot. And I just feel like these people ain't what they say they are. And I'm tired of listening to people complaining. They're just tired of it. We need change. We need a younger crowd. We need more color. We need to be diverse. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay. Next up, I need your attention back, please. Next candidate running for mayor is Mark Lawton. Come on up, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. My name is Mark Lawton, and I'm running for the office of mayor. I'm the oldest of the 5 sons of Jim and Jean Lawton from the East Side. I attended Brockton Public Schools. I married Patricia O'Leary, a school teacher, who's sitting in the auditorium, I think, someplace. The daughter of Brockton Police Patrolman Snub O'Leary and Marie O'Leary. We married in 1975. I probably shouldn't have given you that date. We have 3 sons, or 2 sons and a daughter, 3 children and 2 grandchildren. I ran for a seat in the House of Representatives, serving 5 terms in the Mass House representing the city of Brockton. I was appointed by the governor to serve in the Massachusetts Trial Court and served for over 20 years. In 1988, in October of 1988, Steve Bernard, Steve may be here tonight, who grew up in Foster Street in Ward 2, the Reverend Mike Walker, and I had our first of several meetings at Messiah Baptist Church on Legion Parkway that led to the creation in 1990 of the Brockton Boys and Girls Club. That club having served hundreds, if not thousands, of young men and women since that time. In 2013, 2015, 2017, and then in this year, 2019, until July 3rd, Patty and I ran the campaigns for Bill Carpenter, and my candidacy, at least partially, is to finish the job that Billy began. When Billy ran, we were the second most violent city outside of Chelsea in the East Coast. As a result of putting more boots on the ground, more boots on the ground since 1987, tripling the amount of search warrants being executed to get the bad guys, and concentrating on getting the 50 worst criminals off the street. That was Bob Hayden's, the first police chief under Billy Carpenter. That was his #1 priority. You can't even see Brockton now in the top 50. But without addressing crime, without that, the economic expansion that we've realized in the last few years would not have been possible. And I believe we're inside the bubble. I also believe we're in the midst of probably the greatest municipal transformation in Commonwealth history. I believe that. If I get elected mayor, I intend to file a home rule petition to establish term limits on the council and on the mayor. If the president has a limit of 8 years, people in the city council and mayor shouldn't be serving 18 to 20 years. And lastly, as long as I'm mayor, Brockton will never be a sanctuary city, now or ever. I don't believe in it. It's bad public policy. Thank you very much.
So, speaking of new faces, I just had the pleasure to meet Karina Mompalaz. I hope I said it right. Come on up, Karina.
Okay. Sorry. Hi, my name's Karina Mompalaz. Most of you guys don't know me because I've never held political office before. However, I've lived in Brockton my whole life for 16 years. I know the many struggles that most of us face. I know that our education system is at a decline. Although we have one of the highest funded education systems, right now we're ranking really low. Brockton used to be highly ranked in education, and right now we're not doing so well. We fired about 82 teachers last year, and who suffers at the end of that? Our students. We're overloading the classrooms with about 40 students, and all of those students have different learning styles. We're not implementing the No Child Left Behind Act, and because of that, we're failing them. The system is failing our students. Right now, we have one of the highest dropout rates, and that needs to change. And I'm not saying that I'm coming in here because I don't have all the answers. I don't know how to change a whole city by myself, but I know that as long as I have the right people in place behind me, I can make a difference. You have the opioid epidemic that's going out of hand. HIV has gone up, STDs have gone up, and all these issues are being neglected. Our streets are being overflooded with people that are being a bad influence to our kids. And I'm not saying to rule them out. I'm saying let's help them. Let's help them be placed in let's place them in a place that can help them out, help them get better, because there are people that have fallen. We all have fallen in life. We all know how it feels to find ourselves at odds, to find ourselves in a dark room, to be in a room with no doors and have to break the walls to get out. And sometimes all we had was one person that reached out their hands and helped us out. So all we need to do as a community is help the people that are less fortunate than us. And I believe that together as a community, we can grow. But as long as we care for our neighbors, as long as we acknowledge that life is not about self-gratitude, but it's about the inkling of hope that we drop in someone's life just by reaching out a hand, being a shoulder to cry on. And I believe as a community, we're not going to grow by, I'm not here to make promises, because like Mayor Rodriguez says, it's hard to come up here and make promises when you have no idea what's waiting for you on the other side. But I'm saying that I'm willing to try. I'm a fighter. I fought through cancer. I fought through depression. I fought through a lot of things in my life. And the thing is, through all of it, I have never given up. And because I know that I'm not a quitter, I know that I will not quit in this position. I am a super minority. I am 23 years old. I'm a black woman trying to make a difference. And I'm asking guys to give me the opportunity to make that difference, because it does not matter if you're 40, if you're 12, if you're 13. Making a difference is not relevant to age. Success is not relevant to age, gender, or race. It's about the will, the determination, and the perseverance that you have to make a difference in your community. And I have that will, that determination, that perseverance right inside of me. And I'm asking guys to give me a chance. I'm not asking you to trust me, because I know that most of you guys don't trust me. And we're all politicians. We're all telling you, a lot of people are telling you that things that we want you to hear for you to vote for us. But I'm not asking you to trust me right now. I'm asking you to take a chance on me. And in 2 years, then you'll know whether you can trust me or not. Call me. Talk to me. Come to the, I'm here all the time. I'm a listener. So the thing is, I'm here to take in all your concerns. Because I don't rule anyone out, and I hope that you guys don't rule me out. Thank you so much.
Two more candidates. End of a day, long day. I commend everybody that puts their name on a ballot and has the courage to run for office. I've done it myself. Next up, a familiar face, Jimmy Pereira, candidate for mayor.
Wow. I'm so honored to be here, accompanied by a lot of great people that are ready to make Brockton great. I ran in 2017. First, I want to thank Phyllis Ellis, NAACP, and all the candidates for stepping up and making sure that we represent the city of Brockton. 2017, I ran against the late Mayor Bill Carpenter. For me, it was a hectic competition. I'm a football player, so we make sure that as a student athlete, we don't just fight on the field, we fight off of the field, but we also respect our opponents as well. And that's something that I have great respect for the Mayor Carpenter, because our visions may all be the same, but the objective, our visions may all be different, but the objective is the same, is to make sure that we make Brockton better. So I'm not gonna, I will jump right into it. I'm not gonna take too much of your time. I wanna talk about what it is that I plan on doing in 2020, if elected as mayor of Brockton. I wanna make sure that we bring people together. That's what I do now. And actually with Stephen Cruz, we did meet, and I also try to meet with all the candidates also, but to get their input and to just, share advice if I can as well. But people see that, I'm here to work for the city of Brockton. I was born and raised here. I've went through my trials and tribulations, whether it be DYS or the foster care system, but I came back to the city of Brockton, and I'm working now as a regional planner, making sure that we move things forward in the city of Brockton. Again, I went against Carpenter because I went towards the fire. I seen that there needs to be change. I wanted to make sure that we don't have someone that's not going to fight for the city, the one that's not going to bring people together. That's what I'm here to do. And on the subject of Sanctuary City, a lot of people drop their jaws to find out that, for me, it's something that realistically I know it doesn't work. So what do? You don't just say, no, we're not going to make a sanctuary city. You find out how you can make it better. So for me, it's about community policing. It's about community engagement as well. I'm here to find solutions. I'm not here to just look at problems and say, okay, this is there, let's sit it on the shelf. Two-way Main Street, it's more to it than just two-way Main Street. You have to look at the fabric of the community. You have to look at the network as well. So you look at Warren Avenue, look at Montello, look at everything that goes along Main Street as well. I'm not here to give you the jib and the jab. I'm not here to dance for you. Just like Councilor Moses says, I'm not here to make promises for you. The one guarantee that I can make for you, though, is I'm going to work hard for the city of Brockton, because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the promises. I'm tired of the failed plans that haven't been happening. I'm tired of the people saying that we're going to do things better when we're not. We need to make sure that we bring people together, make sure that we're looking at the homeless situation, that it's not just a Brockton problem, it's a regional problem. Everybody can hear me? And if you can't, make sure that I speak louder as well. We need to make sure that we bring buy-in from the neighboring communities as well. So when we're looking at the homeless problem, you know that when we talk to the homeless people, not all of them are from Brockton. They come in from our neighboring communities. We need to make sure we hold people accountable, hold municipalities accountable as well, and regionalize our efforts to make sure that we're not doing it alone. Look at the desalinization plant. There's a lot of things going on with that we need to make sure that we clarify as well. And that's my job as mayor, if elected, is to make sure that I provide access to information, which isn't happening now. Again, I'm not going to take too much of your time. 3 minutes is not enough, but please make sure you register to vote before August 28th. Make sure that you get up, get out to vote September 17th, and let's make a difference, because the time is now. If you're tired of it, make sure you get up, get out, and vote. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. God bless Brockton. God bless America.
Last but not least, the final candidate for mayor, familiar face, Robert Sullivan.
Well, first of all, I want to thank the NAACP and everybody that has come here today. You don't have to be here in August on a Saturday. This speaks volumes for Brockton. It really does. And it doesn't matter what candidate you're supporting, you're engaged because you care about the city of Champions, you care about the community. I'm Bob Sullivan. I've proudly served as a councilor at large for the last 14 years. And out of those 14 years, 4 times I was elected by my peers to be the city council president. That's something I'm awfully proud of. But you know, the number one thing is I'm a Brocktonian. I married a Brocktonian, and we're raising 3 beautiful children here in the city of Champions. They go to Brockton Public Schools and Trinity Catholic Academy, and I'm a proud communicant of the Tri-Parish Our Lady of Lourdes. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen? This is what it's about. When you elect a mayor, in essence, you're electing the CEO of a business that's over $400 million. That's what it was this year. I've served 14 budgets. I've served with 4 different mayors. And I think when you go to the polls on September 17th, you need to look at qualifications and leadership. My slogan is leadership for Brockton's future. Leadership for Brockton's future. We need to make sure the good investment that's happening right now in downtown is continuing. That train needs to continue down the track, ladies and gentlemen, but we need to expand all around throughout the city of Brockton. I went to Brockton High. My dad was a Brockton High teacher for 30 years. My wife went here. You know, at the end of the day, we need to make sure that the classroom sizes are capable that the teachers can address. When there's 35 or 38 kids in a classroom, not good for the kids, and sure not good for the teachers. We need to make sure we're getting our fair funding, Chapter 90, Chapter 70, the lottery funds. These are things that I know how to do. I know how to work because that's why I ran. In 2005, people said, don't waste your time, Sullivan. You're not one of the old boys. No, I'm not. I knock on doors and I say, what you see is what you get. I want to give back to the community. I've done it, and now I believe is the time for me to run for mayor. Some people have said, well, you supported Sanctuary City. First of all, let me clarify that. It was called the Brockton United Ordinance, okay? That's what it was called. And as the only lawyer on the ordinance committee, and I chaired the ordinance committee, I said no. I voted no because there was a clause in there that violated federal law. When it came back to the full city council, it did not pass to a third reading. It failed. It didn't go anywhere. It's dead. But let's just listen. There was a reason why that was submitted, because people don't feel like they have a voice. They really don't. At the end of the day, listen, it's about being inclusive. It's about electing someone that says, I want to hear from you. You have ideas that I don't have, but let's share. Let's sit at the table and say, listen, Brockton's awesome, but we can do better. We can do better. So what I think, and my wife sometimes says, Bob, you get up there, you get crazy, but I care. No, that's why I'm here. That's why you're here. It's 5 o'clock on a Saturday. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, I don't have a lot of time, but my website is www.electrobertsullivan.com, okay? And I would encourage you and plead, look it over. You'll have suggestions, criticisms. That's why I serve. So on September 17th, I'm humbly asking you, please consider voting for me, Robert Sullivan, next mayor of the city of Brockton. Thank you, and God bless you all. Thank you.
So at this point, we've come to the end of the forum. I just want to thank the NAACP for putting it on, all the volunteers. Know that this will be on Brockton Community Access, so anybody that's not here can see it, so you can be educated about your candidates. And one last thing, and I'm going to introduce the president, so don't leave, Honor. I just want to thank Moses Rodriguez for stepping up and serving as mayor to stabilize this great city of champions. Phyllis Ellis.
We're almost on time. We're 5 minutes over, but thank everyone for coming out. I hope you enjoyed all the candidates. Let's give them a hand. We are going to vote. Some of you got registered today. Those of you who didn't, the deadline is August 28th. We ask that all of you vote. And also, there's going to be a mayor debate on September 12th. Reclaiming my time. There's going to be a mayor debate on September 12th. I do not have the venue yet, but as soon as I do, you guys will get an email from me. I'm famous for my emails. Thank you very much. There's still food outside, so go enjoy yourselves. Thank you. Thank you, Robert. Thank you so much. Sometimes I get a little too.